What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, there's a boxer named O'Hara Davies. I don't know much about him. I know his professional boxing record. I think he's 25-2. And I went and watched some of his fights. And I, he looked like he could do something in the fights that I saw. You know, of course he has his flaws that I could see, but I seen him rock some dudes. Like he has good power, decent speed. I saw him putting pressure on guys. It's like he can hold his own. He's from the UK. Now, what got my attention was I saw a post from Romero saying that nobody knows who O'Hara Davies is. Me and Ryan Garcia is a much bigger fight. And as you can see, what the post before the video, his manager Lee Eaton has stated that they are the mandatory for Romero. They will not be taking any step aside money of any amount, and that they've already been shafted simply by having Romero come up to 140 and on his very first fight, without doing anything, get to fight for a vacant title when they've already been there. He also stated that, I saw a video, actually, an interview with this guy, where he was saying that he put Romero down in sparring with a body shot. And he said that the only reason that he did it was to impress his sister, and said, boy, was she impressed. So he said, like blood, we need blood to spill, and in its rightful place, or something to that effect. So here's the thing about it. Now, for Romero fans that may say, oh, this guy's trying to get big off Raleigh's name. First off, Romero, the most popular things, if you think about Romero's career in the ring, guarantee you the most you remember about Romero is, one, being gifted. I'm going to say three things now. Being gifted a victory against Jackson Martinez. Two, getting stopped by Tank. And now three, being gifted a victory, and a meaningless belt against the Neanderthal, that he just fought. Now, we know that Barroso, same thing, we didn't know, anything about him. So for Romero to say nobody knows, who this guy is, well, nobody knew who Barroso was either. And you fought him for a meaningless belt. And see, this is where all his trash talking comes back to haunt him. Like I always tell you guys, some things you don't even need to say, because what Romero was doing, he basically was talking his way into popularity. People talk far more about Romero and his antics than they do what he does in the ring. And the most memorable things that I said about him, that that stands out about him, is the three things that I just named, and the fact that he never gave Jackson Martinez his rematch. Now, these guys, you sound foolish for anybody saying they're haters or they're jealous. Like, look, they're fighters. They're supposed to want to fight. How are they jealous and they're haters because they want to fight a guy? I just hear some crazy stuff being said, and it's like, yeah, people just say the dumbest things and don't think about it. If they take legal action, and they said that the WBA don't push for this fight to happen, they're going to take legal action. They should. This is something that has to stop in boxing, One, you have these fighters who think that I'm too big to fight you. You're a nobody. Nobody knows you. We're now basing who we're going to fight on simply trying to get the biggest dollar amount that we can. you're doing a disservice to boxing, to your fans, and to yourself as well. Yes, you should maximize your dollars, but not to the point where you're ducking your mandatories or you're ducking fights in general because of fear factor. Okay, let me make something clear. When you hear Aries say, if I was in a position to make $35 million here in this fight versus $8 million here in this fight, and this $8 million fight, this guy is say he's more dangerous than this $35 million fight. I'm taking that $35 million. I'll be back. Don't worry. I'm going to knock you out after I get this 35. Then I'll come take this 8 from you. Well, after I get this 35, that 8's going to go up. Okay, for both of us, the money's going to go up. But at the end of the day, why the hell would I take a fight for $8 million over a $35 million fight? It's business. But how you build your legacy should not be based on how much money you make. Okay? You want to know what? If you look at the history of boxing and you look at all of the all-time greats, you want to know what you never hear? You never hear nobody brag about how much money Joe Louis made, how much money Rocky Marciano made. Nobody's bragging about how much money Marvin Hagler made. You know, just saying. Now, it got to a point where people start talking about the money. Now, we always heard about how much money the fighters were making in the fight, but I'm saying that it wasn't about, well, he's better than him because he has this and he has that. No, that's not what it's about. This is the type of nonsense they're trying to turn it into. And for you to not want to fight your mandatories or think you're too big, too good to fight your mandatories is nonsense. I remember Evander Holyfield, and that's, people was giving him credit for that, saying he always fought his mandatories. At the end of the day, why would you not? And basically, their way of trying to skip the tough fights is by saying, oh man, don't nobody know this guy. Because what they don't want to say is, this guy's high risk, low reward. So they want to speak as if, oh, I'm not worried about him. It's just that nobody knows him. They should take legal action. If this guy doesn't want to fight, if he doesn't want to fight this guy, O'Hara Davies, who he was dropped by, who, he's saying all these things about his sister, and see, he's playing Raleigh. He's playing Raleigh's game. Let me shit talk. Right? So every time Raleigh gets dropped, he gets beat in sparring or something happens, like getting beat by Tank. You already know. He has an excuse about how he was winning and he was doing this and this. He doesn't understand. In this fight game, you have to have that dog in you. These guys get so complacent with talking, and all of a sudden, oh shit, I got 200,000 more subscribers this week than I had last week. And they're trying to capitalize off of that, but what they don't realize, these guys are not looking at what you're doing in the ring. They're looking at what you're doing when you make videos, talking shit. When I see a guy struggle in a fight, I look and say, okay, we can say the fight was a good fight or it was a competitive fight. Then there's a such thing as just bad boxing. What happened against him and Barroso, I look at it this way. Ismael Barroso was a guy who never really shined, but he does have some skill. At his age and at, the fact that he's not the same fighter that he once was still good enough to actually outbox Rolly Romero. This fight was his, okay, you mean to tell me you have a vacant belt and the guy that's already at 140, right? Like I said earlier, that's what they mean by saying we got blackballed by Rolly already for him being able to fight for a vacant title, his first fight into the division. Well, Rolly only had 2,000 people show up. So Rolly, let's just say more people do know you than this guy O'Hara Davies, right? And I'm sure that I would agree with that. But you're no superstar. A superstar does way more than 2,000 people. And at the end of the day, for these guys who don't want to fight their mandatories, making these excuses to not fight them, and you're trying to fight Ryan Garcia. Well, to be honest with you, I don't really care if you fight Ryan Garcia. I mean, you both said belts don't mean anything, right? Both of you said it. Both of you. But at the end of the day, it's not like if Ryan would have beat Tank, he would have said, oh no, I don't want the belt, I just wanted to beat Tank. Just like you didn't say, oh, I don't want the belt, I just wanted to beat Ismael the Neanderthal, Barroso. So you guys, I mean, I'm not gonna say it wouldn't be some interest there, but it would really be the two of the biggest shit talkers in boxing. One just, got stopped with a body shot and quit. And then the other basically, had his guardian angel in the ring disguised as a referee. I say your fans would probably be interested. Whoever your fan base are. And then boxing personalities, well, it's a fight, it's going to happen, so, okay, they'll talk about it. But in terms of what the fight means, who really cares? Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. Man, this is no Mayweather versus Pacquiao, or no Ray Leonard versus Hearns. This is a fight that I personally don't even care, to be honest with you. I really don't even care. Now, even if this fight was to happen, the fact that this man is your mandatory, and you're trying to go with this, oh, nobody knows him nonsense, Rolly should be ashamed of himself. If you are going to sit here and contradict yourself and say nobody knows O'Hara Davies, when nobody knew this Barroso guy, you took that fight for a meaningless belt. Why? This was supposed to be your I'm going to make you look spectacular fight. And they found you one of the most unknown opponents of your career and one of the most unknown fighters in boxing right now. Who knew this guy? Okay, and everybody saw him get robbed and was outboxing you and was way ahead on the scorecard. So to use this excuse, and it's not just Rolly, it's all of these guys. Here's a guy in Tyson Fury. People don't think fighters are protected. You mean to tell me none of you guys think, look at how long Tyson Fury has had this WBC title, and this motherfucker has not had one mandatory challenger yet. Not one. Anybody that you hear him talk about possibly fighting is a voluntary challenge. He has no fucking mandatories at all. And you don't think that that's by design? And people are getting frustrated with him not wanting to get in the ring, including his own promoter. So now, when this guy, like I talked about Deontay Wilder having only 2 mandatories his whole fucking career, being 2 washed up guys. And Berman Stavern and what's the other guy that he knocked out in the first round? Big slow sloth motherfucker. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Unimportant motherfuckers. Okay? He beat these guys. As he should have. And neither one of them did nothing to be in the position of a mandatory. The other guy who, for whatever reason, I can't remember his name right now, Deontay Wilder and his people beat the guy up in front of his wife and kid. Dominic Brazil. Okay? Well, what did Dominic Brazil do to get there? To be a mandatory for anybody. And you don't think that this man has been cushioned. And again, what title was he holding? The WBC. All of them are corrupt. But the WBC is leaps and bounds over every other sanctioning body with being corrupt. O'Hara Davies and your manager, Lee Eaton, good for y'all. If they try to skip over fighting you, don't give them no steps. Don't take the step aside money. Take your opportunity. Because this has to stop in boxing. Everything is about a popularity contest. Everything is, it makes more sense to fight this guy instead of that guy. Even though he's my mandatory. Let's play eeny, meeny, miny, mo. But then you guys want to talk about how this generation is different and this generation is going to do this and this. This generation is a bunch of YouTubers. This generation is a bunch of Instagrammers and Facebook fighters and all of that. It's just ridiculous. And it's crazy because you could take any bozo type federation that they have with some sort of combat, whether it's people standing there taking slaps, just slapping the shit out of each other, or this tag team boxing bullshit, or this fucking 8-man MMA bullshit. I mean, all this stupid shit. Basketball, fighting while you're playing basketball. I mean, all this dumb shit. And you can put professional boxing in the same category with all of that bullshit right now. That's how shitty boxing is. And now here's a guy who stands up in front of a fucking camera that's supposed to be a professional fighter that says belts don't mean nothing. It's all about how many followers you have on Instagram and stuff like that. I don't even care about belts. Belts don't mean nothing. Oh, right. Okay, right. Right. So, if you really care about legacy, you understand how to defend and honor your own career, that title that you hold. People talk about prestige and all that. Let me tell you something. You can't live in people's shadow. You have to make your mark. And I hope that if this, hopefully, Riley shows some heart getting in and fight the guy, win, lose, or draw. Because he's Riley's mandatory. Stop with this shit. Canelo just fought a guy. We just talked the same shit about Canelo, how he's talking about how Demetrius Andre has done nothing, and David Benavidez has done nothing. He only beat one champion. I mean, who the fuck did Ryder beat? Who did Ryder beat? So if these guys have done nothing and you are so confident that you can beat them, then that's who you should have fought. See, the same way Lomachenko thought he was going to destroy Teofimo, thinking like the fans, and Teofimo went in there and was better than what they thought. They had to see him beat Loma to believe it. He made all these excuses after he beat him, but the point is, like I said last video, he was so confident he was going to beat Teofimo, he didn't even stipulate a rematch clause. And look at what happened. Right? So when you handpick a guy because you look, his style is easy. Oh, I could beat that. Do you think a fighter is picking another guy going, damn, I don't know if I could beat him. Shit. I'm going to try and see. No. They look, yeah, I could beat him. Nah, he's basic. Yeah, See, he thought he could beat Beevil. And Beevil showed him, no, you can't. That's not a fight he had to have. But he wanted another title. You guys, he dared to be great. Let's see what happens with this rematch. Let's see if it ends up being Beevil or Berlanga instead. We'll see. Y'all already know the direction I think he's going to go in. But at the end of the day, back to this whole thing, this whole, skipping your mandatory. That's my whole thing with these guys. They don't want to fight their mandatories. And they use the excuse that they're not well known, nobody knows them, but they go fight somebody else that's not well known and has done absolutely nothing. And when you get to the point where things have to go to arbitration and all that, simply just to get you in the ring. The same way like with Andy Ruiz, he's asking for between $13 and $18 million, they say. So for him to get Tyson Fury in the ring, they already said, nah, man, you want too much. Nah, you're not worth that. If this motherfucker wasn't going to give Alexander Usyk, and he didn't want to give him, what did he say with Usyk? What was the split? 70-30? And with AJ, was it 60-40 with AJ? So, just saying, if he didn't want to give the man that beat AJ twice, 50-50, or didn't want to agree to 60-40 with him, he tried to take more from the guy that beat AJ and was willing to fight AJ for more than 70-30. Okay? He wasn't going to give Ruiz that. So for Ruiz, see what has to happen for him to fight Ruiz? Ruiz has to end up, let's say, like if he ends up in the final eliminator and becomes mandatory for the WBC strap, and then he ends up having to take Fury to court because Fury don't want to fight him. And I do believe that there's a percentage of 30% that goes, to the WBC mandatory. Okay? I believe it is. But regardless, if Fury was to even offer him step aside money, to fight who though? To fight who? Because if it's not AJ, or somebody else that the fans wouldn't mind seeing him fight, but bottom line, we already know what that is. But my whole point, trying to not fight guys because it's high risk, low reward. Well, y'all need to shut up with all this, I'm the best, I'm the greatest of all time, I can beat all these fighters, they're all scared of me, but you're the ones turning down the fights. So if O'Hara Davies and his team wind up taking legal action against Riley because Riley doesn't want to face him, he's trying to, overlook this guy, good for them, and I hope if it happens that they win the case and that he has to fight him. At the end of the day, now all the shit talking, y'all know me. I'm not into shit talking. It does nothing for me. I'm all about that action. Okay, that's what I respect from fighters. I don't care about all the he said this and this. What that man is talking about, he knocked you out in front of your sister. He's degrading your name. He's laughing at you. Same type of shit how you constantly talk and was saying all this stuff about, calling Tank Davis a midget and talking about how short his arms are and just all this shit, and then you got knocked out by him. So my whole thing is, you're in a position, and mentally you should be thinking, nah, I'm not a joke, and I'm about to get in this ring and show everybody. You don't know. You at 140. Now you're going to 147, 130. Then all of a sudden, you want to fight Tank, who's not leaving at 135. I mean, all this bullshit. It's just so much talking and not enough fighting. Not enough dedication to the sport. Just trying to look good on social media and just talking shit. And then you guys get in there and realize you're not built the way that you talk. So, yeah, I don't know much about O'Hara Davies, and I'm pretty sure a whole lot of people don't. But just like the same way, nobody knew about Romero either. So you talking about fighting, Ryan Garcia. Now you want to play matchmaker. I want Ryan. No. Okay. Anyway, y'all, I just thought this was interesting because these are things that happen and people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So when I saw this, I started looking and doing my homework on this guy, and I said, wow, okay. So here's another guy. This guy, Jahan, he dropped him. Tank dropped him. Now we find out that this guy, O'Hara Davies, dropped him. It's sparring, it's boxing, it happens. Right? All of that talking. This is how you guys kill your career. You got more bark than bite. And when you go in there and have lackluster performances, your stock go way down. And to be honest with you, it might not be a good idea for Raleigh to fight Ryan right now either. And the thing with that fight, I don't care who wins, and it doesn't appeal to me. I think between the two of them, Raleigh probably has more heart than Ryan. Like, once he's in there with you, he probably, maybe, I feel like, where Raleigh, you never know what a guy do once he's in that position. Okay, I can't say what Raleigh would do if he gets hurt badly, but can make it to his feet. Will he try to, just quit and say, nah, fuck it, I'm not going through this. I'm just gonna quit. The way that Ryan did, and again, I think Ryan could. In fact, I feel strongly that Ryan could have got up. I think that Ryan was scared that, okay, I'm hurt. Once I get up, I won't be able to defend myself the way I need to. I might survive the round. I might not. But I believe he was just scared. You heard him say, yeah, Joe Goose, did he hit you in that rib area? Yeah, that's why I didn't want to get up. We heard him say, so we know he could have got up. He said it himself. Just why I didn't want to get up. He knew he could have got up, but he was scared. So his will was broken. So what would make me enthused about watching a guy that quit get up, then go fight another guy who was gifted a win? Clearly had no reason to stop that fight. Clearly, just clearly got outclassed by Jackson Martinez. Now, I can't blame Raleigh for the referee's decision, but Raleigh talks so much shit that you should understand what your responsibilities are, what your duties are. You don't duck your mandatories. Simple. Never fall in love with lies. Remember the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video. Talk to me. Tell me what y'all think about this situation with these fighters ducking their mandatories and acting like the mandatories don't belong in the ring with them. Enough talk. Out.